Marriage is the ultimate trust exercise. You trust your partner with your life, with your health, and with your heart. So what would you do if you found out your partner was withholding a secret that could absolutely change everything? On today's case, Mrs. Beach says that her world was turned upside down when, after 9 years together, her now husband told her that he was attracted to men and wanted to begin transitioning into a woman. She says that the hurt was unbearable, and now she feels she can no longer stay in this marriage. Can this couple find common ground? Let's hear their case.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding. Your Honor, this is the case of Beach versus Beach.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Beach, you say that your husband's expectations of marriage have changed and it does not align with what it is you want. You believe the best option at this time is to get a divorce.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Beach, you admit that your lifestyle change has completely altered the dynamic of your relationship with your wife, but you hope she will continue to stick by your side.
Yes, Your Honor.
Before we begin, I want to make sure that I am respectful of who you are in this courtroom. How would you like me to refer to you?
Gabriela.
Normally, I am more formal and I call you Mr. and Mrs. But Gabriela, I want to be courteous. And if that makes you more comfortable, that's the way I'd like to refer to you. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Absolutely. Mrs. Beach, how would you like to be referred to?
Miss Beach.
Yes, ma'am. Therein is probably one of the issues. Mrs. Beach, you still see yourself as a wife, and Gabriela is becoming an individual.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that is what is bringing us into court today, am I right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Beach, tell me how you met, because it didn't all start out like this.
Well, when I first met Gabriela...
She wasn't Gabriela.
When I first met Shawn, he was a man, an alpha, normal man, good-hearted, real good friend of the family's, was very...
You met Shawn. Tell me about Shawn.
First time I ever met Shawn was I picked him up at my dad's job and gave him a ride home from his apartment. That was probably, I would say, back in 2003.
Shawn was your father's friend at the time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you all know each other family to family?
Yes,
Your
Your Honor.
socialize?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did y'all become friends during that time?
Yeah, we chatted and texted and kind of stayed in touch over the years.
And during that time, was there any intimacy when you were identifying as a man?
Not before we got together. It was more like we were really good friends.
Platonic friends?
Yeah.
I actually read that you used to describe each other as your best friends.
Yeah, she's been my best friend for a while now.
And Mrs. Beach, how did you feel about that?
Well, I considered him to be a close friend. I don't know if I would go as far as saying best friend.
So talk me through, when did the platonic friendship become a romantic relationship?
Well, we just started hanging out, you know, watching movies and stuff like that, and we just, I guess, developed feelings for, you know, because we were always close as friends, and, you know, we would chat here and there, so, you know, it developed into a relationship, and it was a very good relationship at first.
Now, when you say a very good relationship, I'm going to talk about the things that make up a relationship. Emotional, physical, spiritual, social, security needs were being met.
Yes,
Your physical needs were being met?
Yes, we had a very good, healthy, good relationship, healthy sex life.
And you felt like you were being connected at that time?
Yes, Your Honor.
You felt like your values were aligned? You know, that's what I would call the spiritual connection. And did you feel like you could provide for him, he could provide for you? That's the security aspect of a marriage.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you felt like you had all the elements?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm gonna turn to you, Gabriela. What about you?
I felt like we were really close, and for a while, I thought we had all the elements. She's always been supportive of me, and I try to support her, but sometimes it seems like we're going different directions.
Well, that's clear. That we know that, okay? That's the elephant in the room. Y'all are definitely going in different directions. Ms. Beach, talk to me a little bit. How did it go from all of your needs are being met, according to you, in the traditional, quote, relationship way, to you deciding to get married and the whole change occur from Shawn to Gabriela. Can you walk me through that?
Well, we were together for 8+ years. We just recently got married in June of 2022.
So literally a year ago.
Yes, a year ago. Everything had been basically good. He came out and said, hey, you know, I have an attraction to men as well as women.
When was this?
This was in 2020.
Okay, so about 3 years ago.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so we can't say that you didn't know that Shawn was questioning his sexuality at that time. Because he said that he was honest and said that there was an attraction to men, am I right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and so did you all discuss that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So
we did.
tell me how that happened.
You know, I'd also expressed that I am also bisexual myself.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a big deal. I just thought that it would make us closer knowing that he was able to, you know, express that to me and I was able to express that to him.
Right.
And, you know, I just felt like it would bring us closer together, but instead it totally went in the opposite direction.
So when you heard what Shawn was saying to you, you heard it as bisexuality, meaning you could be in love with a person of either gender.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so if there was an attractive woman that you found a connection with, you could have been involved in that kind of relationship, or if it was a man, vice versa, no problem.
Yes.
You interpreted that Shawn was the same way.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now I come over to you. Was that what you were trying to say?
Yes, Your Honor.
Had you already had experiences?
Yes, Your Honor. Not as a transgender woman. In the past, before we were together, I had past experience.
So you had made choices about your sexuality that involved women and men. Is that fair to say at that time?
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Okay. But it seems like everybody knew what was going on, but you're shaking your head, Mrs. Beach. What happened?
After we got married, there was only one night that we actually had a connection.
A sexual encounter.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you expressed you could be attracted to men, and then you still ended up getting married. What happened?
I had an affair.
Back in like 2018, he had interest in, you know, both, but I mean, it was just like, I don't know, like in a passing type thing, you know, like.
Like I can find men attractive
Right,
also.
right.
Did you actually have a conversation, say, you know, if somebody says that to you, you go, well, have you acted on that? You know, that's like the next question. Barbara Walters taught me that there's always a follow-up.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so you didn't ask a question. You know, the old people say, don't ask a question you don't want the answer to. Was that a little bit in your head? Okay.
Because I actually had a lot of fear that there was something off.
Yes, ma'am.
But I didn't know what was off.
So this is starting back in 2019, but you all are still seeing each other, you're living together, you're in a relationship. Do you have children from a previous relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Beach has children from a previous relationship?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, Your
but so you had a blended family?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so now, 2019 and 2020, just tell me what the progression was.
We moved from one residence to another residence. From the time after we got married, there was only one night that was the last real time that we actually had a connection.
Meaning had a sexual encounter?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, but I'm talking about from 2019. I'm going to turn on over to Gabriela. Gabriela, I want to hear you talk. What was going on between 2019 and 2022? Because something occurred. You expressed you could be attracted to men, and then you still ended up getting married. What happened?
Well, she went out of town. I had an affair with the man. It didn't mean anything, but
It was a hookup.
yeah, I've always been attracted to men my whole life. And I tried to hide it from myself. I mean, I'm not purposely trying to lie to somebody else, but I wasn't honest with myself.
Okay. So in other words, you were not ready to face the fact that you had homosexual feelings.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay? You know, people don't like labels, but if you were attracted to men, that's what was going on in you. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I've always liked women's clothing. I've always liked all the women singers. My favorite singer is a woman.
Most people's is.
Yeah. I had a relative that had came out, and they were afraid to admit that they were trans, and it just kind of turned a light on in me, and it's like, that's who I am.
And how did you share that with Mrs. Beach?
In April of 2022, I had told her,
That's 2 months before you got married.
yes, Your Honor.
So what did you share at that time? Gabriela, why marry this woman until you had figured out what was going on with you?
I had thought that she supported me.
I feel like my husband checked out a long time ago.
Gabriela, did you go into the marriage with the intention of being married or just satisfying what society wanted for you? If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Missed a show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content.
I told her I was bisexual, that I wanted to do hormone treatment, I wanted to start transitioning.
So did you express that to the now Mrs. Beach? Did you tell her, I want to live my true self as a
Well,
woman?
I felt like I did, but sometimes saying things the right way is kind of difficult, as I was trying to express myself that I was transgender or wanting to transition, and being attracted to men was hard for me to do to her. And I thought that that she was going to be angry with me.
And you didn't think that she would be angrier, not knowing? Now, you got to live in the truth your doggone self. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I'm going to be sensitive, but I'm not going to be stupid.
Yes, Your Honor.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes. I felt like I was lying to myself. Because my whole life I've been trying to be what a lot of other people wanted me to be instead of myself. And I feel like for the first time in my life I'm actually trying to be myself, and I feel happier.
But you took somebody along on this ride, and I think, Mrs. Beach, that's what the problem is. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I married a man. Spending all the time in the basement, looking at wigs, makeup, just doing, you know, totally eliminating himself from anything that has to do with me, the family, the kids, just anything. It was just all about him. The gym, trying on clothes.
Becoming a woman.
Had I known that he cheated on me in 2021, I would have never been married in 2022 of June.
Okay.
Never.
Mrs. Beach, first of all, I completely understand that. Because, you know, forewarned is forearmed. Because it's one thing to say you are attracted to someone of the opposite sex, or you could be attracted. It's another thing to tell me that you have already acted upon that.
Right.
So that's information you would want to know. Am I correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Your Honor.
So I think that's fair. You are 100% fair. But when Shawn, now Gabriela, said to you in 2019 that he was thinking of transitioning, what did you take that to mean?
That we would still be husband and wife, but he was just wanting to be more feminine.
So did he express to you what that process was going to take? Because that requires hormones, and there are going to be changes, not just physically, but emotionally. Did you all have this conversation?
No, Your Honor. He said basically, I'm starting hormones, I'm going on hormones. I'm like, I'm busy. I'm basically a single parent.
Mrs. Beach, this is the conversation that you have to have before you marry somebody.
Well, I feel like he cheated me out of that conversation.
And that's what will make me turn over to you, Gabriela.
Well, at the time, I really didn't feel like I really knew myself, but I should have been more honest. But it was just a hard topic and felt so much like I had to be something I wasn't. And I really didn't want to hurt anybody, but once I started transitioning, I learned that even more also that there's different parts of me that are still coming out of me that I didn't even know was there.
Gabriela, here's my question. Why marry this woman? Why not continue in what was a relationship but was not a legal commitment until you had figured out what was going on with you? Help me to understand that.
I was a little bit confused about expressing it. When I married her, I felt closer to her because I had thought she supported me, and I thought right off the bat she was going to be mad at me just for that alone.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, Gabriela, come on. Not for nothing, but
He constantly blew off stuff. Didn't go to the graduation of one of the kids, knew in advance, didn't care, you know, and I think it was very, very hurtful for her.
well, you know, Ms. Beach, to be honest with you, you're bringing up things that a family does together, that a husband is responsible to a wife. Mr. Beach, Gabriela is basically saying...
I feel like my husband checked out a long time ago.
Actually, I think you're right. I'm not sure that you actually ever had a husband. That's what I'm trying to find out.
I don't believe so too.
Gabriela, did you go into the marriage with the intention of being married or just satisfying what society wanted for you?
I wanted to be married to her. She was my best friend, but it was like there was hormonal changes, and I read up on it, and I knew that some things were going to change, but I didn't know how drastically.
Yeah, but you don't do that to your best friend. You don't leave out critical information, and one of the critical pieces is, I'm not sure who I'm going to be. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure it out. Were you doing therapy at this time?
No, I've been wanting therapy.
Mrs. Beach, you all have not done couples therapy?
No, Your Honor.
You have children together. You all have not done family therapy? How old are your children?
9 and 16.
How old are your children?
I got a 22-year-old, soon to be 18, and a 17-year-old.
So young adults and teenagers, and their lives are going to be impacted on by the decisions that you all make. Did y'all think about any of that?
I don't think he thought of anything. I honestly think that he married me because he was selfish and wanted to have his cake and basically eat it too, wanted to, you know, keep me around to basically care and do everything.
I have it.
Because he wasn't doing anything.
Fair enough.
Well, her and my daughter haven't been getting along. Last year, we went to the Gay Pride event in Akron, and my wife went with us, and the whole time she was complaining and unhappy, and I just felt like she was jealous of my daughter at the time.
Do you think maybe your wife was pushing back on a lifestyle that she was just not comfortable with? Next time on Divorce Court.
I do love her. I always loved her.
But Mrs. Beach doesn't want to be married to a woman. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor. He said that, hey, we're not going to be a married couple anymore. We'll just basically be sisters.
You were being selfish, and you wanted to make sure you maintain that.
I just don't want to lose her.
I don't treat my friends that way.
When a man comes to you and say that he wants to start taking hormones to become a woman, that is the ultimate red flag. I asked Carolyn Tucker to come and join us as an expert for the court.
I would work on issues of identity and codependence within the relationship.
I've got the divorce papers signed. I mean, I feel like there's no trust.
Mrs. Beach, you're telling me you are not interested in being in a marriage with that as the foundation, because there is no marriage.
There's no marriage.
Would you like me to serve the papers now or return them to you so that you can make your own determination?
Made in Georgia.